Hi everyone! Today we're going to be talking about the Renaissance, more specifically, the people the Renaissance birthed, the ideas that came from it, and the places that were impacted.
Okay, let's break down what the Renaissance really was. So the Renaissance was this period where everybody was like, yo, let's try new things. And there was like cultural things going on. They were like, we like art, we like science, we like math. What if we like merged them together and like helped each other? So that's what they did. And then there was this family, the Medici family, and they really backed this movement. They were like, yo, this is really cool. We like this. So then they funded a bunch of artists and they were like, we're going to give you a bunch of money and we want you to do stuff for us because we like what's going on right now.
During the Renaissance, there were three basic forms of government: princedoms, monarchies, and oligarchies, which were also called republics. In a princedom, a prince, also called a duke, count, marquis, or lord, ruled a state without the need to consult any representative body, constitution, or court. Although many had official lines of succession, most during that era came to power through a combination of war, assassination, bribery, diplomacy, purchase, marriage, or occasionally when a city would invite them to quell factionalism. Monarchies, typically larger than princedoms, were sanctioned by much larger traditions and a stronger institutions. Monarchies of this era were that of England, France, Portugal, whose rulers were chosen by heredity, while Poland, Hungary, and the Holy Roman Empire were chosen by electors. Oligarchies, or republics, were the smallest and most unusual of the three forms of government during the Renaissance. They were governed by a small contingent of people, normally merchant elite, making a system of interlocking and balanced councils involving large deliberative assemblies of 200 or more adult males chosen by lots. The intellectual and artistic worlds were heavily linked during the Renaissance. Artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo used their art and architecture to further the understanding of the human body as well as construction and innovation. While men like Nicholas Copernicus charted the stars, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote books on the ideas of leadership, while William Shakespeare would come to prominence during this era, writing plays such as Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet. Although the Renaissance was a time of increasing secularism, religion still played a large role in most commoners' lives as well as in art. Many works of art depicting scenes from the Bible were commissioned by the Catholic Church to be done by artists such as Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. The ideas of Reformation, brought up by Martin Luther in his 95 Theses, caused incredible upheaval in the Renaissance world. Europe would be divided along religious and territorial lines as the debate between Protestant and Catholic raged on.
Okay, let's talk humanism. Humanism became a cultural movement that began to start gaining its momentum in Italy. It prompted the idea that man was the center of his own universe and people should embrace human achievements in education, classical arts, literature, and science. The invention of the Gutenberg printing press in 1450 allowed improved communication through Europe. This caused ideas to spread more quickly. In the advancement of communication, texts from humanist authors prompted the renewal of traditional Greek and Roman cultures and values. They were printed and distributed to the masses.
The Renaissance roughly spanned from the 14th to 17th century. Humans during the Renaissance ushered in a new era of cultural, intellectual, and scientific advances and changes. There were new discoveries of continents as well as shipping routes, and even new ideas of mathematics, astronomy, and other scientific subjects. To the invention of the printing press that was developed by Johannes Gutenberg in 1436 allowed for the spread of knowledge and wealth throughout all of Europe. The human intellectual changes occurred during the period of rebirth that followed to the Middle Ages. There were advances of architecture, art, and literature. An Italian inventor by the name of Leonardo da Vinci was a painter and architect. Niccolo Machiavelli was an Italian diplomat and philosopher who wrote The Prince as well as the Discourses on Livy. Nicholas Copernicus was a mathematician and astronomer who furthered modern science by making the argument about the concept of heliocentric solar systems. All of these thinkers pushed people to think differently and to change the way that political and religious freedoms were thought about. The Renaissance is to have considered to been developed in the main city-states of Italy, which then slowly spread to other regions of Europe. One of the biggest societal impacts of the Renaissance was the fall of feudalism and the rise of the market economy, which increased trade as well as labor that fell so drastically because of the Black Plague. This gave the middle class a chance to rise, which led to craftsmen and tradesmen, especially with the rise of guilds between the 11th and 16th century.
In historical terms, the Renaissance is important because it led to a major shift in European thought and worldview. The Renaissance began in Italy. There were several cities that played a major role during the Renaissance. There were some of the richest cities in all of Europe. Some of the more important city-states included are Florence, Milan, Venice, Naples, and Rome. What exactly is a city-state? A city-state is a region that is independently ruled by a major city. Italy wasn't one unified country, but several small independent city-states. Some of these cities were run by elected leaders and others by ruling families. Florence is where the Renaissance began. It was ruled by the powerful Medici family, who used their money to support artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. One of the early architectural achievements of the Renaissance was a massive dome on the Florence Cathedral. In the early 1400s, Milan was still a middle-aged city focused on war and conquering Florence. However, the Sforza family took over in 1450. They brought peace to the region, and with peace came the new ideas of the art and of the Renaissance. The island city of Venice had become a powerful city-state through trade with the Far East. It imported products such as spices and silk. However, when the Ottoman Empire conquered Constantinople, Venice's trade empire began to shrink. Venice controlled the seas around the east coast of Italy. In Rome, the Pope ruled both the Catholic Church and the city-state of Rome. Much of the city of Rome was rebuilt under the leadership of Nicholas V beginning in 1447. Rome became a patron of the arts and supported the Renaissance through commissions to artists such as Raphael and Michelangelo. The city of Naples ruled much of the southern Italy at the time of the Renaissance. It was one of the last city-states to embrace the movement, but in 1443, Alfonso I conquered the city. He supported Renaissance artists, writers, and philosophers. Why exactly were all of these cities important? The wealth of the Italian city-states played an important role in the Renaissance. This wealth allowed prominent families to support artists, scientists, and philosophers, spurring on new ideas and artistic movements. These city-states and their rulers helped with the spread of the ideas from the Renaissance era.
Let's talk humanism. So humanism began... What the fuck? Okay, let's talk humanism. So humanism became a cultural movement that began... I don't fucking understand.